Welcome back to Sakura Angels, everyone. In the last episode, Sayaka and Hikari taught us how to work a little bit of magic, but I'm not sure if I've even got the steps down. But after hours of practicing, they've assured me I do have it down.
In your pants.
I won't be able to tell for sure until the real thing. That's what scares me.
In your pants?
What if they've misjudged what I'm really capable of? Or what if I mess up? Or there's a whole range of possibilities of things messing up on the day. These are the thoughts that stay with me long after the girls return to their tent to catch whatever rest they can before the morning. The last thoughts I have before I finally drift off to sleep is that the toughest day of my life is now lying ahead of me.
Just imagine the phrase "in my pants" at the end of every sentence, so I can stop that gag, guys.
Isn't technically the hardest day of your life always forward? Like, upcoming? I don't know. I had a philosophical thought in there somewhere, but it's gone.
How can you tell?
What?
How would you even be able to tell?
Well, because if you've already all the days behind you, you've survived them. So the hardest, I don't fucking know. Anyway, I slowly came to my senses and stopped philosophizing in bed. Morning has arrived. There's no time to waste. I slip out of the covers and steel myself for what's to come, feeling more awake than I ever have in previous mornings, which is surprising, seeing as I probably got at best a few hours of sleep. I guess the fear of what's to come if I mess this up is what's keeping me going. A better motivation than any other. Okay, let's do this. I peer at a pair of determined eyes that stare back at me from the mirror.
Scopophobia.
This is the most focused I've ever been in my life. It's funny how much has changed in these past few days, and it's even more weird how I seem to accept it, as if, deep down, I knew all of this to begin with. I slip on my casual clothes and make for the dining room. I find the two girls waiting for me, as expected, though I'm caught a little off guard by the fact they're in their usual battle outfits.
Good morning! Did you sleep well?
About as well as I could, knowing what's to come.
Make sure to eat well before we leave. You're gonna need the strength.
Right, of course. I start for the kitchen and prepare the most simple food I can think of. So, I think I forgot to ask this last night when we got carried away with other stuff, but where exactly is this Dark Queen imprisoned?
Huh? Didn't we say? She's sealed just outside this town.
What? I almost dropped the plate I'm holding. She's that close by? What a convenient coincidence.
Of course. Why else do you think her influence is spreading around here so easily?
I didn't really think about any of that. That's a good point. But to think she's been this close the whole time. No wonder things have been getting progressively more crazy around here.
It's like going through an old box in your basement and there's like 50 human faces.
Why? She must be furious. To have the key to her freedom just out of grasp like this.
To be fair, while we knew she was at least in the area, we didn't pinpoint her exact location until last night. Apparently, she's in a forest on the outskirts of town, holed up in some cave out of sight. There's a lot of history around this place, I suppose. Maybe the forest used to be part of something greater.
You think that's the same forest that was in the previous game?
Maybe.
Maybe they're tied together somehow.
Her old base of operations, perhaps? None of that matters. We just have to get in there, strengthen the seal, and then our lives should be much easier.
Are things
Oh
really...
god, what if it is Sayuri?
Are things really going to just magically fix themselves when we do this?
Well, it'll shut off whatever power she has on the land, meaning the monsters will go back to being mindless husks, and things should quiet down around here. And then we can finally go home after all of this is sorted. I swear, I'm going to snap if I have to spend one more day at that school. Aw, don't act like you're so desperate to leave. I know for a fact you've had fun spending time with Kenta. Don't be ridiculous. I'm only doing my job. You can't fool me. Not when your face is such an adorable shade of red.
It is an adorable shade of red.
Humph. Are we gonna leave now or what?
Sayaka giggles and jabs.
It's not like she likes us or anything.
Sayaka giggles and jabs at her partner's ribs. I suppose it's good they can stay in such high spirits despite the task that lays before us. We set out. I let the girls lead the way as we take the lesser-traveled routes through town so as not to draw attention to their outfits. They offered to fly me there, as it would be much faster, but...
No.
Walking is fine. I'm sure things aren't that urgent. It's only the destruction of the world.
Yep.
And there's a lot of threats of destruction of the world every couple of years.
But what if you puke?
Ugh. Before long, our surroundings become less urban, the buildings shrinking in number the longer we travel, until finally we cross over a fence and into the wilderness. Branches overhead shade us from the sun as we walk across the faint trail laid out across the ground. Only the faintest hints of light that filter through illuminate the way. Game? Okay. I'm beginning to wonder if the girls even know the way. As we pass by a tree, I swear I've seen at least three times before.
Maybe we should have brought a map?
Well, that just confirms it. We're hopelessly lost. Any tension that might have existed before is sucked away the moment Sayaka begins to scratch her head and glance around the place.
Really? We were told clearly the directions before. How can you forget them like that? Okay, you lead the way then. Fine. I forgot to. See? Nobody's perfect, even if you'd like to think you are sometimes. I don't think I'm perfect. Compared to you, though.
Guys, is this really the time?
But Fine. You're right. Let's focus, Sayaka.
And here I thought the ceiling part of this operation would be the most difficult part. Ugh.
Okay, the forest isn't that big, I think. If we stumble around some more, we're bound to find the cave.
Hasn't stumbling around randomly only made us go in circles? I fear the sun might set before we ever find this darn cave now. I know it won't help, but I joined the pair in surveying the land. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking out for apart from... a cave?
Huh? Something up?
I squint at something in the distance. A cluster of boulders that had caught my attention. My eyes were practically drawn there like some kind of magnetic force was at work. I've never been here before. Yet somehow it seems familiar. Can we check that over there?
Sure. We don't have any better leads right now anyway.
We trek over to the oddly suspicious rock formation. I wonder, could this really be it?
What made you want to look over here?
Sayaka begins to poke around the boulders, a hand to her chin. Circling around the cluster reveals nothing too out of the ordinary, but there has to be more. I don't know. I just felt like something was here.
They're just a bunch of stupid rocks.
You're a bunch of stupid rocks.
We're wasting time. Aww. We should at least investigate them a bit more if Kenta says there's something up. He's connected to the Dark Queen, remember? He's bound to know at least a few things relating to her, even if it's only a subconscious level.
She says that as she raps gently at one of the rocks with her knuckle, one eye closed to better examine it.
Oh! This one seems kind of loose.
Sayaka takes a grip of the rock in question and begins to pull at it with all her might, her teeth gritting in determination.
Some help would be appreciated.
Oh, right, yeah. I should probably help. It was almost amusing to see her feet wildly kicking in place with that rock refusing to budge. I take up the other side of the rock and begin to push against it with what little strength I might possess. We still don't manage to move the rock. It doesn't budge. At all. Even with all our combined effort. And I really am trying here, honest. This certainly does feel loose, though. Apparently not loose enough. I think we could move it for sure if one last person were to...
Oh, for crying out loud. We're gonna get nowhere like this. Step back.
Her sword appears in a flash. Hey, wait, we're still right beside it. Isn't it dangerous to just... She strikes out without any further warning, unleashing a single precise slash that splits the rock clean in two. We both fell backwards as the two pieces of the rock collapse opposite ways. I feel like my hair might be just a little shorter than it was, too, after how close that was.
Hikari! See? Problem solved. That's...
She falls silent, unable to argue with that. It did move the rock after all. We both hop to our feet to join Hikari in peering over the results of her destruction as the dust begins to settle. I almost forgot how to breathe in the excitement of it all. Could this really be it? We all gasp at once. I knew it! I'm not sure how, but somehow I knew it! Behind where the rock lay is a tunnel that trails downward deep into the darkness. There's no telling how far it might stretch or if there's anything on the other end. But if someone went to such lengths to hide this tunnel from existence, then that has to lead somewhere, right?
Is this really it? Sure feels like it. You can practically see all that darkness and evil flooding out of it.
That's not really something you should be saying so happily. She is right, though. There's a foreboding sense of despair as I peer deep into the hole. A heavy tension in the air, as if the sheer presence of whatever lurks down there seeks to consume us all. And yet, there's this light, jaunty tune in my head that I can't seem to shake, and it keeps repeating itself over and over. It makes me relaxed. But once we go down there, this will be it. We'll finally put an end to this madness, and I might finally be able to get some peace after all of this is done. Do I really have the strength to go through with this? To reseal a long-forgotten evil that tormented...
Welp, time's a-wasting. In we go.
Hey, wait!
No waiting, just go.
Sayaka apparently doesn't have the decency to wait for me to battle out of my internal struggles.
Will you stop fighting?
And cuts things short as she plops down onto her knees and begins to shuffle into the hole.
Come on, Kenta, you're embarrassing yourself.
Its size is just about big for us to fit if we crawl.
She's right. We can't waste any more time. Come on, Kenta.
Hikari follows after Sayaka,
Will you quit struggling?
looking somewhat more hesitant toward the whole thing compared to her partner. They disappear into the darkness completely as if consumed by the tunnel. It's scary just how little light there seems to shine down there.
Quit goofing around out there or you're gonna get left behind.
Hikari's harsh tones sound out from the tunnel, making it all the more frightening. Okay.
Are you calling me scary in your head?
I plead the fifth, even though we're in Japan and there is no such thing?
I'm gonna come back out there, Kenta.
Well, it's not like the world is...
And then we'll be dragging you down this hole in pieces.
It's not like the world is just gonna end just because I take an extra minute or two to prepare for diving into the heart of evil. At least, I hope it isn't.
With all this time they wasted, they're gonna fuck up.
I drop to my knees and shuffle into the tunnel, my world quickly becoming dark as all traces of light begin to fade. It's probably a good thing it's dark down there, because given the fact that the three of them are going to have to crawl in, he's going to be staring right at pantied butts, and given the fact that this is Japan and tropes, he would flood that tunnel with a nosebleed.
Ew.
Yes. I can just about make out the scuffling sounds of the other two crawling along ahead of me. Their presence, the one thing keeping me calm during all of this. My surroundings are dark, cold, slimy to the touch. So far, it hasn't been a very pleasant experience. What did you expect, you idiot?
You're crawling down a throat.
You know...
Something up?
This wasn't what I had in mind when I pictured myself being a hero. Crawling along in a cramped, dark tunnel? Somehow I thought things were going to be more dramatic. Sayaka lets out a giggle as she soldiers on ahead.
I'm sure we'll have plenty of dramatic moments ahead. We just gotta get through the less dramatic moments.
And one of the less dramatic moments is the closing of this episode.
Aww, can't we go a little longer?
Nah, we'll save it.
Please?
Well, for you, it'll only be about 20 seconds.
Come on. Just do it already, God.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for another episode.
Has he closed the episode yet? I don't know.